I'm Willa Jackson, and this is Merlin Yu. We are with Da Vinci Charter Academy. Our veteran is Ileana Gutierrez. This is being filmed on November 28th, 2016 in Davis, California. So the first question is, where and when were you born?
I was born in Salinas, California on February 5th, 1985.
And who are your parents and what are their occupations?
My mother is Magdalena Gutierrez. She is the CEO and owner of Ventana Interpreting and Translations Incorporated. And my father is Simon Gutierrez. He is deceased.
And did you have any siblings?
I have an older brother, Arthur Hernandez, another older brother, Eric Gutierrez, who is also an Army veteran, and a younger sister, Christina Gutierrez, who is a physician assistant.
And what were you doing before you entered the service?
I was in high school.
So then, in which branch of military did you serve?
I served in the United States Marine Corps.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
I was enlisted.
And then why did you choose that specific branch of the military?
It was the most challenging. I needed structure in my life.
And what happened when you departed for training camp and during your early days of training?
What do you mean, what happened?
What was it like, and what was training camp like?
What was boot camp like?
Yeah.
Boot camp was very difficult. I had to learn how to work as a team. They really broke me down and made me a team player. Stop being an individual and thinking about only myself.
And then do you recall your instructors, and if so, what were they like?
The only one I really remember is the one who, Staff Sergeant Kelly. She was awesome. She was tough, to say the least. But she helped me through the hard times I had and built me up.
And then how did you adapt to military life, including the physical regimen, barracks, food, and social life?
That took a lot of getting used to. I mean, it was my first time being on my own, so I had to learn how to budget on my own, because I wasn't ever taught how to do that kind of stuff. I didn't actually have to eat in the chow hall or anything because I had a job where my hours didn't work with the chow hall hours, so I was given an additional pay so I could eat out or make my own food. Social, I mean, we all get really close and tight. We have our little cliques.
All right, I actually have a question relating to the last one. So you said you had a job. What exactly did you do in your job?
First 3 years in, I was an aviation operations specialist. Entailed, we did a lot of, it changes from position to position or station to station you go to. So when I was in my first duty station in Okinawa, I mostly managed locations of all our aircraft, all of our assets. We would go on practice deployments to simulate war with North Korea, and we would keep track of all that information. That's what we did on my first job at that first duty station. My second duty station, I was sent to Iraq, and I was the air boss, and there I controlled aircraft going out to pick up casualties, to go give air support to troops who were in battle, and arrange all of our supplies coming into and out of our base. And then I had another job, because I switched jobs. I became a crew chief on the V-22 Osprey, and that I was a mechanic and crew chief. We managed all the systems while we're flying, so the pilots have a little break. You're not managing everything on the aircraft, and we also are in charge of all cargo and passengers.
Okay, so does that sort of answer the where did you serve, or do you have more places?
Let's see. I was in Okinawa first. Then I moved to Miramar, California. Then I went to New River, North Carolina. And while I was in all those places, I've gone to Sumatra. I did a tsunami relief in 2005. We did those little deployments to Korea. We also, I got deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. I think those are all the duty stations.
Okay, so like you did serve abroad, so what are some memories you have of these experiences?
Oh, Okinawa was so beautiful. And the people were so great. I wish I could go back there. It'd be a nice place to raise a family. It was just being able to experience a new culture, something different.
So were you on the front lines, or were you?
No,
okay.
Never.
Did you witness any combat in action, however?
No.
Okay. So you were not on the front lines, and because of this, what were your duties?
In Iraq, like I stated before, was sending out aircraft to support. We called those ticks, and TACs to bring back casualties. So I was able to see our casualties, our hospital, our little, what do you call it? It's where they get their initial assessment of where we need to send them. So they were there. I could see what was going on. But.
If you saw combat, how did you feel when witnessing casualties and destruction?
I think of it as, someone once told me, is the only way to be able to get through this is to view it as a video game so that you don't take it home. And that's what I learned to do.
So what kind of friendships and camaraderie did you form while serving, and with whom?
I have several Marines that I consider blood. They're my brothers. We still stay in contact. We still meet up at least twice a year to just meet up and have a good time and hang out, reminisce.
How long have you been out of service?
I got out in 2012, so June of 2012.
And so while you were in service, how did you stay in touch with your family and friends?
Mostly phone. We didn't really do the video chat, and then we get vacation days, so I try to go on vacation and see them.
Okay. So what did you do for recreation or when you were off duty?
Oh, there's time off. The little time off I did get. I like to ride motorcycles. We do a lot of fishing, outdoor stuff, hiking, camping.
So when you were serving in different countries, did you like have a chance to go outside of the base or to like see different parts?
Yes, but it's just really just touristy stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
Okay.
Learned how to scuba dive in Okinawa.
So where were you when the war ended on December 18th, 2011?
Where was I? I was in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was still in Afghanistan.
So when were you in Afghanistan, and when were you in Iraq?
I was in Iraq. Let's see. Came over in June of July 2005 to February 2006. I was in Iraq. And in Afghanistan, I was there from, it was either January or February of 2011 to December of 2011.
And how did you return home after this?
What do you mean, how?
Like, how did you adjust back into life back at home?
I'm not completely adjusted from even just being out of the military in general. You learn to just live with things.
How long did you serve for?
8 years, 8 months.
Okay. How were you received by your family and community?
Oh, they love me. They don't hold anything against me. The community, I returned to Salinas. I actually went to community college there first, and they have an amazing veteran community there, as well as like the community outside of the school. They're just they embrace veterans very well.
Did your family generally approve of you joining the military?
No.
Would you like to elaborate, or?
My mother preferred me to go to school. She had the means to pay for me to go to school, but it wasn't what I wanted. And at the time, if I think back, I know I probably wouldn't have finished school. I wouldn't have been how I am now, structured and know what I want to do. I was just too young to know what I really wanted to do.
So would you say you generally had a good experience coming out of it?
Leaving the military?
Or having been in it?
Oh, I loved it. I wish I could have stayed. I couldn't for health reasons. I was done. So I really miss it every day.
So how... also, you said you had a brother of yours that served. Did this have any influence on you joining the military, or was this...
No, I believe I showed interest in joining the military before he did, because recruiters would come to our school, and I actually showed interest. I actually did ROTC, and my instructor, one of the instructors, was a former Marine. So I think that might have influenced me to pick the Marines also. But
Did you influence him then?
I don't know.
And
because he didn't do ROTC or anything, so he just kind of went.
What is ROTC?
It's a Reserve Officer Training Corps.
Okay. So moving back, how did you readjust to civilian life? I know you said that you haven't quite yet, but...
I have not quite yet. I can't elaborate on it. It's just that in the military, we all have our spot. We all know what we're supposed to do, when we're supposed to do it, and how we're supposed to do it. There's a structure, and a lot of the times out here in the civilian world, that doesn't happen, and it's very frustrating, and it's hard to accept. And it's not that, like, I need it to be, like, everybody needs to be on point, but it's just that I think it's more frustrating in school that I see it, where the kids, and they are children, are giving every excuse in the book for doing something a certain way, and it's just frustrating. It's like, this was your job, this is your only job, this is what you should be doing. Why is it so hard for you to just do it?
So, moving on, sort of, are you a member of any veteran organizations? And if so, which ones?
I do some things with Wounded Warrior Project, Ruck for 22, Kill 22, and I think that's all of them for right now.
So as a member, what exactly does that mean you do?
For Rec 22, we actually just had our first event. What they do is bring awareness to suicide of veterans, because there's about 22 veterans who commit suicide a day right now is what the average is. And our first event was actually, we did a Rec March on November 10th to November 11th. We started at the Capitol and we marched all the way to San Francisco Pier 39. And yeah, they also offer, they're a small organization, we just started, they're offering to pay for psychological services for as much as you need, because it's hard for us to get in to get medical care or even psychological care at the VA. So they're just taking us out into the civilian world and using their psychologists, and they're paying for it. They also offer just other holistic things. They have a chiropractor that offers and gives us free adjustments. We are trying to hook up with other veteran organizations to just expand and try to offer more services.
So when you leave service, do they like tell you about these organizations, or is it something that you just found on your own?
We found out about this. I found about this one on my own. Wounded Warrior, they're just really big and everybody knows about them. They were kind of the first organization that helped casualties when they were first coming out, so pretty much everybody knows about them in the military.
Do you have like a preferred organization, and like what exactly do the different organizations, other ones, do?
I don't prefer a single one.
Okay.
They all have their purpose. They all have their niche that they need to fill to fix. Wounded Warrior is the biggest and have the most money, and they offer so much. They're actually sending me to a Camp Odyssey. It's like something to work on with PTSD and stuff, a camp, just women veterans. So sending me out to Colorado for that. They do a lot of team building things. They do even physical health things. They paid for gym memberships for me to go work out to, just stay healthy, promote healthiness. They have family activities. They'll do even stuff just like movie screenings with your family or other veterans to connect them.
So, as a female veteran, has that affected and impacted like your service? Do you think that
it's definitely a little harder for females in the military, especially in my second job I had. It was male predominant. There was only 3 females in my last unit, and it's almost like more is expected of us, and we have to do more to prove ourselves, especially in a job where mine was mechanic. You don't typically see women in mechanical jobs. It's just, we're sexually harassed all the time. It never stops. And it's not okay, but it's something you kind of just wash, let it fall off your shoulder or whatnot, and that's kind of hard, especially if you don't have the thick skin. Yeah, I mean, even in boot camp, they told us you have to be better than the men, or else they're gonna walk all over you, and it is harder. It's a little harder to earn the respect of your Marines and for them to trust you.
Okay. So I don't really know that much. So I've heard that you can't become a Marine as a female until like recently, but I'm not quite sure. So when did they open up Marines to?
That I don't know what year they allowed females to be in the Marines. Maybe you're thinking about women being infantrymen?
Possibly.
Yeah. If that's what you're talking about, that was only a few years ago, and I don't think a single female's passed that I've heard of yet.
Okay, so I guess, do you have anything else to say about what you've done since separating from the military, or do you think you've pretty much covered it?
I mean, I took 6 months off as soon as I got out. Did absolutely nothing. I took a break. I took a mental break. I went and traveled, met up with some other friends who had also gotten out. Then I hit the books. I've been in school since January 2013, and I haven't stopped.
So how did your wartime experiences affect your life?
I see life in a different perspective, I think, than other people do. I think I know what I value more now in life. What's important.
Okay, so what are some life lessons you learned from your service?
Keep your family close. They're the ones who are always going to be there. And that includes your brothers and sisters from the service. They're the ones that are going to help you through any issue you ever have.
Did you and your brother actually serve at the same time, or?
He's still currently in. He's an active reservist.
Mm-hmm.
But we never served in, like, We were in country in Iraq. I believe we overlapped for like 2 months, but we never saw each other. The Army, I guess you could say, owned a certain part of Iraq, and then the Marines did, so you serve in your respective AOs, your areas of operation.
So is he Army and you were Marine?
Yes.
Okay.
And I still give him crap for it.
Would you say there's a big amount of rivalry?
Just always. The Marines are always going to be on top, though. That's the way it is.
So how has your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
The military is not a bad thing. I mean, and every country needs one. But I don't want to get political, so I want to talk about war.
Okay. What message would you like to leave for future generations who will view or hear this interview?
I don't know. That would have been a great question to ask me to prepare for, though.
That's a lot of pressure.
Right. I don't know. I don't know about everybody else, but at least for veterans, know that you're not the only one, and somebody's always there to help.
Is there anything you feel like we haven't discussed or should be added to this interview?
No, not really. Can't think of anything. But they might.
So, after college, what are you thinking of doing?
Well, I'm going to finish my undergraduate here in June, but then I still have to do some prereqs so I can continue on with my master's to become a physician's assistant. I want to work for the VA and try to relieve the issue of not having enough providers to serve my brothers and sisters.
Do you want to like continue your support of the military and like new veterans like further in your life?
Yes, that's why I want to work for the VA hospitals.
I'm sorry,
Later
the
on.
VA hospitals.
Or did you mean like, do you want to help recruit more?
No, I just meant like help people readjust to civilian.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and then.
So, if you were to have kids, or you do, how would you react to them joining the service?
You said, like I told you guys earlier, my family didn't like the idea that I joined the military, but my mother has always been supportive in anything we do as long as we do it. So I think I would do the same. If they want to join the military, go ahead. Just make sure you plan on which service you really want to go into and make sure you get the job you want.
So speaking of the service, what made you choose the Marines and not the Army?
Or the Navy, or the Air
Yeah.
Force, or the Coast Guard. It's because it was the most challenging,
Okay.
and I needed the structure.
Did you look into and research the different branches of military, or did you get your information from the recruiters that came to your schools?
I did both. I know I didn't want to go to the Navy because I didn't want to be stuck on a ship. I get seasick. The Air Force was just not my thing, and it was between the Army and the Marines. I actually didn't even know about the Coast Guard until later, but they were on boats too, so that wasn't even a question.
So you said that you worked as a mechanic?
A mechanic on
So
aircraft.
is that something that you had an interest in previously, or is that something you learned after enlisting?
Actually, because I wanted to fly, but part of the requirement is you have to be able to fix your plane, so I had to learn how to fix it before I could fly on it.
Did you fly eventually?
Yes.
Okay, what?
You go to mechanic school, then you go to flight training school, and then you go to flight school.
Wow.
So you can be in the back of the
So
aircraft.
what did you fly?
On the V-22 Osprey. And we fly in the back.
Okay, I'm not quite sure what that is, but.
It's a helicopter and a plane. It does both. It transitions. You should look it up. It's a really cool aircraft. And it folds so it can fit on ships better. Look it up.
And then what awards did you receive during your service and what were they for?
Oh, I honestly have a lot. And I don't know them all. But I know like my highest personal awards. I got a Navy Commendation Medal for my work in Afghanistan. I have 2 Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medals for my work in Iraq and for the work I did in the tsunami relief in Sumatra. I have a Unit Commendation Medal for, what did we do? I have to look at dates to match these up. I don't remember exactly what we did. We did something for somebody. I have my good conduct medals for being an exemplary Marine. What else did we get? I have like awards for going to certain places. Like for going to Korea, I have a Korean Defense Medal. I have overseas deployment medals. I actually worked with, it was a group of, it was the Australians and the British when I was in Afghanistan, so we got a ISAF medal. There's a few more in there. I really don't know them off the top of my head.
And I was wondering, do you think the skills or like interests you learned in the Marines, like how you wanted to fly, would that continue in like civilian life? Would that be something like you were interested in later?
I wanted to, but like I said, I got out for health reasons, and those same health reasons prohibit me from continuing to do them in the civilian world. But I do have friends that got out and were able to transition and continue the job as civilians.
More questions? Is there anything else you'd like to add at this point?
No. She did.
Yeah. Oh, can you talk about the Marines you consider family and why you consider them to be your family?
Miles Dillingham. We've been through all the ups and downs in life together, and we've always supported each other and have never not been by each other's side through thick and thin. When I lost Jacob Carson. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
He taught me everything I needed to know. Took me under his wing when I first got to the unit. We did so much together. Brandon Big P Priester, another one. We did a lot. It's just these guys we spend every day of our lives together for years, and we do everything together. It's just, gosh, there's just so many of them. There's a Michael Caulfield, little britches we call him, a little guy. And well, there's one that he's kind of fallen away, but he's dealing with this stuff. But we still try to keep in contact with him. Is Martinez. I think those ones are my closest. You can keep asking questions. I'm okay.
I gotta think of them first.
I think I've asked everything. Or, I guess, for part of our project, we're focusing on Iraq, and just if there's anything about serving there that is memorable to you.
I was on Al-Taqaidam, TQ is what we called it. So I worked in this tower that overlooked the airfield, and the thing, it's funny now to me, but it was the only thing that could be visibly seen from the little town that was outside of the base. So they would aim their mortars at our tower. So, like, one side of our tower is, like, has all these holes from mortars being shot. And we called this place the Bada Bing. Right? It was the most memorable thing. It was awesome. Yeah, that's my most memorable thing.
Anyone else have any more questions? Okay, I think that's everything.
All right.
So thank you so much.